Folks, hello and welcome to Tavern Chat. I'm your host, Eric Tenkar, your bartender in the OSR, your main proprietor of the Tenkars Tavern blog. Uh, for those watching, yes, there's a scroll at the bottom of the screen. It will take you to the Star Trek RPG bundle over at Humble Bundle. Tenkars-tavern.games /Star Trek. It's an affiliate link. If you shop using it, you support this channel, and you get some good shit. This actually, I'm impressed. Modifius, I said it before, even has the animated Star Trek series as one of their source books. So I'm in it probably just for that. So today's topic, and I think it's an important one because Shire Khan's about a month out now, and I have my adventure named, and I've got the plot. I've got to write it out. The Curse of Blackwood Manor. The low-level Blades and Arcana, Swords and Wizardry Light adventure. So if you have a Swords and Wizardry Light character and you're coming back to a session from last year, yes, you can continue leveling your character. It didn't change that much. The town of Blackwood has come under a curse. Milk is curdling. Beer is going sour. Cheese is molding. Fields lie fallow and undead now walk the ruins of Blackwood Manor. The town priest is hiring adventurers to investigate the ruins and lift the curse. So, now you could write this, right, for publication. You could write this for your home group. But each of those targets are different. So, when it comes to your home group, right, and if you're writing something for your home group, you know what your players like, what they don't like, what they expect. You've got an idea generally what directions they're going to go to. So you can actually write an adventure tailored to them, and I think that's usually the best way to do it when you're writing for your own home campaign. You know, it's a lot easier to write for your group than to shoehorn something in. So then we're going to go to the other question before we get to running for a convention. What about writing for publication? Well, for publication, you don't know who's going to play it, right? You don't know who's going to run it. When you're writing something for yourself, you can be minimalistic. Okay. You can leave things out that you will fill in on the spot because you're the one that's writing it. Your subconscious knows where you want to go. When you're writing for publication, you can't do that. Publication, you got to spell everything out. Okay. And you got to take into account that not every group will play like your group. Your preconceived notions as to where this is going to go isn't necessarily where it's going to go. So you got to take a lot of that into account, and it's got to be detailed. What you can do, I could write an adventure for my home campaign. I could probably do it in, I don't know, 2, 3 pages, which would probably work out to be 12 to 16 if I was publishing it. That's not including art and maps, right? Because you got to spell everything out. You can't just leave it to assume that the DM or GM that's going to run your published adventure is going to think like you and be able to fill in the blanks that you left, which to you are obvious. What's going to go on there? So when you're writing something for convention play, it's a little bit of writing for your home group, but it's also different because there's a timing aspect. You've got a 3 hour slot, you got a 4 hour slot, you got, you know what, players are okay generally if you come within half an hour, 45 minutes of your time frame. Gives them time to go on to the next game, use the bathroom, grab a bite to eat. But nobody wants to start a game and have it be over in an hour. They'll have going, what just happened? And at the same time, nobody wants to be playing in a session that is down for 4 hours, and at the 4 hour mark, you're nowhere near completing it, and you got to end it. You got to roll that table over to the next group that's going to be playing. So, how do I write adventures for convention play? Well, I often do the less is more, kind of like writing it for my home group, because I know how I can fill in my own blanks. I know what I'm writing. But I also ensure, depending on how I want to do it, what I think is a possibility that what I have written could get completed really early, I will have an extra location or an extra part of that adventure or an extra couple of rooms to that dungeon that the party will reveal maybe after they've beat the bad boss. Now, this is like an epilogue, it's a wrap up, it's a chance to get some extra goodies. Or if it's running slow, if it's running long, and they're not going to get where I need them to get to, I have an ability to compress. They haven't, and listen, I understand there's this whole like, well, no, if the dungeon is mapped out, you got to play it as written. And your home campaigns, I would certainly say that because you have unlimited time. Maybe not for that session, but you have unlimited time for your players to play. All right, you're not going to wrap it up tonight. You come back in a week or 2 weeks, or whatever your schedule is, and we finish it. When it comes to convention play, you want your group, your players, to leave that table satisfied. All right. They're paying for a convention, and some conventions they're paying to play in specific games, and you don't want them to leave, I don't know, with half the adventure finished, or having the adventure finished and half the time allotted. Neither one is a great solution. So again, I generally have an idea. This one might finish off early. It's a relatively short one, but I have a whole extra section that I can seamlessly put in and know how to put it in, so I can continue the action and make sure the players leave satisfied. Or if the players, for some reason, are going slow, combat lasted long, they missed a clue that you assumed they were going to find for whatever the reason, you need to be able to condense it. And they don't need to know that you are. They don't, you can tell them, but they don't need to know that you just removed the whole section. Or you moved the big bad evil guy up 2 rooms. They don't need to know that. Let them think it's natural. Let them enjoy the adventure. So when you write the adventure for yourself to run, and I would never write an adventure for somebody else to run at a convention, because part of what I do at a convention is I am willing and able to improvise. If I wrote it and it hasn't been run yet, I can improvise. Oh, damn, they're tearing through this. All right, well, I know where I'm adding something. Boom. Or if they're really hurting, you can lighten it up. You got to work that around the group that you have. And you're not going to know. Yes, I know players that have signed up so far for my game at ShireCon. I know the names. I don't know how that group plays out. I won't know until they actually play. And also remember something too. Groups at conventions aren't necessarily as wired together as your home group is bound to be, because they game with each other constantly. This is usually a bunch of strangers or people that might know each other, but they're not a fine tuned, oiled machine. So don't expect it to play out that way. And if it doesn't play out that way, be able to adjust your adventure likewise. Which also means that a lot of times playtesting your adventures with your home group isn't necessarily going to tell you how it's going to play out at a convention. That's a whole other story. Folks, we're available on YouTube, Rumble, Spotify. Live streams are also up on X. We like to give you options. So please, whether you're watching, whether you're just listening, we're happy to have you along for the ride. And remember, tenkars-tavern.games/Star Trek for the Modifius Star Trek bundle over at Humble Bundle. All right, folks. On that note, I'm out of here.